This week we head to Seward, Alaska, where we see some whales, catch some fish, eat some delicious barbecue, and meet up with old friends.
Life is a winding road.
Today we are leaving Tangle Pond outside of Whittier. Bye! We had met up with Lee and Kelly, and Bo and Karen came and joined us a few days later, and so we just said goodbye to them. We are on our way to Seward, where Lee and Kelly already are. We're going to catch up with them. Got rain coming. I don't know how much we're going to get to do there.
Hoping to do some fishing, but I looked this morning and all the charters are booked up, so I've got to call and hope for a cancellation by somebody that doesn't like rain. We parked on the riverbed of the Resurrection River.
Today's change of scenery does not suck. Stormy, what do you think?
Lee and Kelly had arrived before us, and we parked just up from them. Stormy was happy to have his bed and room to roam. At first, Stormy was a little tentative about the fast-moving waters. Then, just like that, he seemed to get over his fear. Maybe it's because the seagull he was chasing. After a good game of chase, he eventually gave up and came back across the river with no hesitation. Then he shook it off, Tina Turner style. Seward is a town of just over 2,600 people on the Kenai Peninsula. Over 100 tour and charter fishing vessels call this harbor home. This is no surprise since it's one of Alaska's premier sport fishing destinations. It also offers a cute downtown with one of the few relatively intact main streets left in Alaska. And it's the beginning of the National Iditarod Historic Trail. After walking around, it was time to get some lunch.
So this is like Italy all over again, where I vowed to eat caprese every day while we were there.
Yeah, except she's eating my chowder every day.
Well, I'm trying the chowder, but we had halibut yesterday and opting for halibut again today. We were at Alaska Seafood and Grill down at the harbor side of Seward, not the downtown area, but looks delicious.
Yeah, and I went with the rockfish. Try something different. Rockfish they catch out here are a little different than we see it in Maryland, so I wanted to give it a try.
So the chowder is different than the one yesterday, but you just got the clam chowder yesterday?
I got the seafood chowder today.
Today, I was going to say it tastes more like a seafood chowder.
Because it is.
So then they nailed it.
Then we headed to the Coffee House Art Gallery for a pick-me-up. We appreciated the inclusive, inviting stairs, and Stormy appreciated the impromptu jam session going on outside. Back at the ranch.
Hey buddy, what do you think of Alaska? It's kind of pretty. I like it.
We all appreciated the closest thing to a sunset we'd had in over a month.
This morning I am off to do a marine and glacier tour out of Seward on major marine tours. And unfortunately, weather is not on my side today. Hoping it's going to clear up.
Hopefully this bald eagle would bring good luck.
So we're leaving the harbor. Here's hoping.
With rain gear on, Kelly was ready for the day. The first mammals spotted were Dahl's porpoises. They can often be seen swimming in and out of a boat's wake and can reach speeds up to 35 miles an hour. Next up was a pair of sea otters. Surprisingly, approximately 90% of the world's sea otters live in coastal Alaska. Alaska also has the largest population of bald eagles in the United States. Then they started seeing spouting from a pod of whales in the distance. These humpbacks spend most of their time feeding and building fat stores during the summer to sustain them throughout the winter. Here they can be seen working together to corral their prey into a dense ball. Kelly was fortunate enough to capture them lunge feeding, rocketing up vertically from underneath the dense ball of prey. This series of stills does a great job at capturing this feeding technique. With this round of hunting over, they head back out to sea. last wave goodbye with their massive flukes. Later, a fin whale was spotted. This is the second largest species of whale on Earth, second only to the blue whale. Finally, they came across this pod of killer whales, also known as orcas. These toothed whales are actually the largest member of the oceanic dolphin family. As many as 4 generations travel together in these highly stable matrilineal groups. Closer to shore, they saw a colony of harbor seals basking on the rocks, and these stellar sea lions hauled out on the rocky shoreline. This one seemed to put on a show to demonstrate their climbing ability, which shows how this large male made it to the top of this cliff. They also got to see a selection of horned and tufted puffins. Not only did Kelly get to see the animals of the Gulf of Alaska, she also got to see some of the glaciers within the Kenai Fjords National Park.
Sorry if the video is a little shaky. It's really cold up here.
While just off of Holgate Glacier, the crew scooped up some bergie bits that they then made into delicious glacieritas.
One sent us out, one seeing us back in.
With the cruise over, they pulled into the dock next to the beautiful and appropriate puffin mural. Then it was time to strap on a feed bag at Firebrand Barbecue. It was delicious. The next day we had a wonderful visit with Crystal and Steve, whom we'd met at Alumapalooza 11. Then we hitched up and headed out. A big part of the reason we had traded from our Airstream to our Oliver is to allow us to get into these more remote locations. Our approach and departure angles in the Airstream would not have allowed this.
Grateful for that high clearance. Ooh. That was close.
We didn't travel far this day, just down to Seward at the waterfront park. This city campground allowed us to get a waterfront spot right on Resurrection Bay.
So even though we are packed in pretty tight, we do have a pretty sweet waterfront site. Campfires on the other side of the walkway. Not too shabby.
The waterfront shore path behind us leads to downtown and contains several little garden areas with views of Resurrection Bay behind them. But I'd come here for something else. I wanted to do some fishing. Lucky for me, Saltwater Safari Company was able to get me on Renegade. We left in the fog and motored out past Stormy, Kelly, and Piccolino.
There he goes. Go get us some halibut.
The fog lifted as we left Resurrection Bay and out towards Chiswell Islands. This big skate was caught and released, and the biggest fish of the day was brought aboard by the smallest angler. And while I was out fishing in the cold for dinner,
Hanging by the water, waiting for Papa.
and I brought home a few Pacific cod and 2 of these halibut. As we made our way back to shore, Stormy was keeping a good watch out for me. Kelly and Stormy were on spot and waiting for me coming up the gangway. Honestly, I think he was more interested in the bag of fillets I had instead of seeing me again. I took my catch to Captain Jack's for processing and freezing.
16 and a half.
So yesterday's fish trip, here's the result. 16.5 pounds of packaged,
Portioned, beautiful Alaskan fish.
cod and halibut.
Yum! So among all these beautiful fillets, I noticed there's one teeny little piece packaged.
Then we headed to Kenai Fjords National Park. Like most U.S. national parks, this one was not dog friendly, and this was as close as we could get to Exit Glacier.
So you can see, this is where the glacier was in 1899. Now, there it is.
Back at camp, we took a final walk along the waterfront shore path. We got to see this sea otter play, watched this pair of bald eagles, saw fishing boats heading back out to work, then watched some salmon in the river that had escaped the fishermen's nets, but only barely escaped from Fisherman Stormy.
Oh, Stormy, no.
She's going fishing. The next day we said goodbye to Seward as we hit the road again. This time towards Cooper Landing and the Kenai River.
Life is a winding road,
We'll see you there.
no telling where it goes.